Welcome to Ms. Royal, the Divine Oracles channel. And this is just a quick intro about the type of content that we're going to have on this video. I have a friend here, Chiquita. She's helping me. What we're going to be talking about is a couple of topics, because my mission is to set people free from indoctrinations and enslavements and false religions. And so what the first thing I want to talk about is going to church, reading the Bible, and nothing makes sense. And I'm going to ask my friend Keto real quickly. Keto, what is some of the key topics about church, why people have been getting confused? I know my children, they used to fall asleep when they go to church.
Yes, sometimes it can be very long-winded and you lose interest in or the attention span of your audience and the delivery of the message that they are trying to bring forth are some of the things
that you see.
Yeah, and the difference in the Old Testament and the New Testaments, it's contradictory.
Yes. And that's one of the things that we're going to talk about too, how certain things are contradictory. So just a little background on myself. I was a head prophetess of two ministries when I was in Christendom, and seen a lot of the spiritualists today have converted into spirituality or the occult because they saw themselves not agreeing with a lot of the things that was being taught and being even led to live by the lives that people were the people that were teaching weren't living everything that they were speaking in the Bible. They use it for what's convenient for them. And what she was saying is how the Old and the New Testament, how they are very contradictory. One of my not Facebook friends, but my YouTube friends, and y'all like, share, and subscribe to her channel. Her name is Priestess Alset Rahman. She is my sister goddess, and she always talks about how things are contradictory from the Old and the New Testament, and that is a problem. I know with my children, they said that some things just didn't really make a lot of sense, and the reason for that is because a lot of the things was retranslated. It was taken out of the original text and it was rewritten, and not just rewritten, it was to accommodate those that were in rule. And it was also to keep us enslaved because our natural rhythm of things goes against what we're being taught or what was being taught. In the Old Testament, it talks a lot about a lot of prophecies, and it was written by some prophetesses called the Sibyls, and it was taken out of context because the patriarch wanted to take over rulership. So this thing starts with patriarch versus matriarch. It did not start off with black versus white, because those are statuses. They are not complexions. They are not race. They are statuses. And we'll get into that when the time comes. But the Old Testament, a lot of it is still on point, but it was still rewritten. However, the Psalms is the book of spells, and so a lot of us spiritualists, we go into that book, and we know how to utilize the word, how it's supposed to be utilized. What's some other stuff that you
as far as the Bible, people tend to use scriptures according to fit their lifestyles.
correct?
It's not used in the way that it should be. They pick and choose the way that they use it to fit their lifestyles.
And they do. And the reason for that being is because a lot of times what I've witnessed is people, the reason why they take what they want to take out of the Bible, the good book, and use it to accommodate their lifestyle is because they want to not rationalize, but they want to actually, what's the word I'm looking for? They want to make it seem like it's okay for them to do some of the things that they're doing. So, for an example, there's a scripture that says, he who dwells in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. And what that means is that if we trust in the Almighty, the Most High, then we could abide under the shadow of the Almighty and be healed. But some people will go out there and they will do all kind of stuff and say all kind of stuff and still use that scripture and says, well, I'm covered because I'm under the Almighty. Well, that's still wrong. However, but they don't want nobody to question, or they don't want nobody to say, no, you're wrong for that. And this is why there's such a conflict. Because in Christendom, and I'm not bashing it because I still have some friends that are still in Christendom. However, when you set aside a people and you tell them that everything they do is wrong and they're going to go to hell for it, there's a problem with that. Because you have people, you're not telling them what they can do, you're telling them what they shouldn't do. And so the reason why we were called the rebellious people is because we wanted to still live the lifestyles that our foremothers and fathers had already established for us, even back in Kemet. So we're going to talk about who Jesus is. For one, and you probably want to hear this again and again and again, because it is true. There is no J in the Hebrew alphabet. So it's not Jesus, it's Yeshua. That was his name, Yeshua. And he was a Moabite king. And Yeshua performed alchemy when he turned water into wine. He also performed necromancy when he rose Lazarus from the dead. He used magic when he fed the 5,000 or 7,000 with the loaves of fish and the loaves of bread and the fish. That's magic. Because you can't tell me if you get a couple of baskets with some fish right now, you're going to feed 5,000 people out there. It's not going to happen. When he said go into to pay Caesar what belongs to Caesar, go into the mouth of the fish and get the coin. So he was already also a prophet. He was also, he could tell these things. So if he knew that if he said something, if he spoke something, it was going to come to pass. Because if I tell Keita right now, go into that pond out there and get a fish and get a coin out the fish mouth, you gonna do that?
Because ain't no coin gonna be in that fish mouth.
She's saying a coin gonna be in that fish mouth. Also, if I ask her to go, her faith, she has great faith. This girl is going places. But if I tell her right now, use your water walking faith and go walk on that pond outside, you think she gonna do it? Yeshua knew that if he could control the 4 elements, that he can make the waters congeal and he can walk on them. But he also said, a greater work shall you do because I go to the Father. So he knew. See, he already knew. He already predicted death. And the reason why I'm bringing this up is because we are now under the age of Aquarius. Aquarius is a lighter frequency. When we were under the age of Pisces, that's when we had a lot of spells cast on us. And if you don't believe that you were under a spell, then how did you take Revelations and say that he had feet like burnt brass and hair like fine wool, and then create a blonde-haired, blue-eyed Jesus? It reminds me of the good times. Remember when JJ painted the wino, Ned the wino, and said, that's Black Jesus. And it was a nice painting. But Florida couldn't wait to get that painting down and put her white Jesus back up there. And they never got out the ghetto. Did y'all realize that? They never got out the ghetto. Because white Jesus wants you to stay in the ghetto. Broke, busted, and disgusted. You see? But when you start elevating who we really should be elevating, and we also, and listen, we coming on a time now, and these are messages and downloads that's coming from the Great Mother. We are coming to a time now that a lot of people are waking up. You have never seen so much spiritualists coming out of the woodworks, because we know the age that we are in now. We are in the age of, it's all about technology, but it's what you do with the technology. We're waking up because it is the time. That's why you're seeing a lot of movies that are giving messages, hidden messages in plain sight, because they know. And it's called, was it psychic? Not psychic. I'll come back to y'all with it. Contra Queen just mentioned something about that too. That's another one that has a great YouTube channel. She's been on here for a while as well, Contra Queen. And she also was talking about this. But it's perception. It's all about perception. What they can show us. But if you're still under the spell, you're not going to see none of this. And you will go to church day after day after day, Sunday after Sunday after Sunday, week after week, month after month, and still not fed. Because you're still hungry, because you're not getting in what you need to get in. See, we are a people that have to heal ourselves. We have been through a lot as a people. And we must elevate our ancestors. It is very important. It's very vital. Everybody isn't called to do that work, but it's a very powerful work, because we need them to help aid us in a lot of things. If you having dreams about your aunt that passed away, your granddaddy, your sister, your brother, whoever, your best friend, your child, that's indication right there that you don't just go to hell and never come back, or you just burn and you don't ever, or you just go into paradise and you don't ever come back. But that's what is taught. That if I do this, if I elevate my ancestors, if I don't go to church, if I don't do these things, I'm gonna go to hell. These are what is being taught. Is it? So you got children going back and forth to service and scared to live life because they think they're going to go to hell. Hell is not just a state of mind, but it's also your lower self. So if you live in your lower self, then you're already in hell. If you're doing things that satisfy your lower self, then you are already living in hell. And the prime example is that when you can't see your way through anything. When you can't see, when you can't see how to navigate through life because you're blinded. And that's what a lot of things have been done. Just like Alcest said, that they no longer have control over us. See, what man fears, not just Nubians, but man, is that when the collective come together, if we're going to take our revenge and retaliate, we don't got to do that. The things that we as Nubians need to do is to heal one another. We got to allow ourselves to be healed from the fears and transmute them. Why? Because as long as we live in fear, men, you walk in fear of women rising up all the time. There's a fear in you that you don't want her to do anything greater than you. Or you don't want her to progress because you need her to need you. When we should be working together. Our Nubian men should be supporting us as we support them as well. But instead, it's vice versa. The healing starts with us, the Nubians. The only thing that the Caucasians need to be doing as far as work is going with their ancestors and asking for forgiveness from us for the things that they've done. Lying, stealing, and mass manipulations. That's the only work they need to do, is coming to us and asking for forgiveness. Not to be getting all these crystals out the earth, blowing up stuff, causing drama. All the stuff that's being done. And it's not all of them, because some of them have already done some of the work. And they're not pleased with what a lot of their ancestors have done. But that's the one thing that we need to work on as a people. We need to come together as a collective and heal amongst ourselves. It's not about a black and white thing. It's just about the male and the female. The black, the Nubian male and female. And we need to come together to strengthen one another, to uplift one another, so we can raise this earth's vibration. If we get on one accord, do you realize the stuff that we can do? When you used to go into the Christian church and you used to see people falling out on the floor and and all that stuff like that, not the speaking in tongues part, but the falling out on the floor and going and doing this, and you felt the spirit and just rising, that's because of us melanin folks that got together. It wasn't because we was just praising on some blonde hair, blue eye God. It was because things happen when we get together. When we come and we are on one accord, same mind, same spirit, there's things we can shift. So this is not about religion. This is about spirituality. So it's going to look, when we get on one accord, it doesn't matter if you are Baptist, Presbyterian, Pentecostal, or holiness, or you are in the occult. And we're going to walk the same walk and talk the same talk. It's not going to matter about your religion. It's going to matter about how we come together on one accord, saying the same thing, doing the same thing with the same mind. So it doesn't matter if you're teaching Jesus and we're teaching Kemet, gods and goddesses. It doesn't matter. As long as we come together as one people with one mind. And that's what we got to get into. The reason why I'm doing this introductional video is because it's not going to always be the same. I'm not going to come on here all the time and talk about the same thing. We're going to be channeling. It may be times where somebody's ancestors going to come through with a message. It could be times when the Great Mother's coming through with another download. It may be different messages. And it's the same thing when you go to the church. When they go in their chambers and they say, okay, God, what kind of message you want us to give the congregation today? And it's real. When they go and seek source for real. Not because Teddy down there did not pay his tithes and you going to preach on tithes because you see that Teddy ain't pay his tithes. What is source really saying? What is source really saying? Is source convicting y'all about having the wife and having 3 or 4 girlfriends in the church? Is source convicting y'all about molesting these little boys? Is source convicting you about being a whoremonger, a liar, a thief? I watched my mom go and pay for over 40 something years tithes every Sunday. She had a vision about turning away from the church because spirit was trying to elevate her and do something else. But because of fear. And why I say fear? Because when people stay stuck, it's because, oh, well, if I leave there, then when I die, I ain't gonna have no burial place. To be honest, a lot of people fear leaving ministries that they've been in for years and years and years because they want someplace to bury. Well, you can buy a plot anywhere, to be honest. But that's the reason. And also, they don't want people to look at them badly. Oh, well, she don't go. If that girl don't go to church, that girl going to hell. I lying. Because they would rather stay stuck in a certain rhythm of things than to go against the grain. I've always went against the grain. So if we were 10,000 sheep, and I was one, if I was one, because I'm not a sheep, but if I was one, then I would be one with probably painted hoofs and probably a tongue ring, and probably they will have some kind of diamond necklace or something around my neck as a sheep, because I'll be different. I wasn't going to be the same.
I agree.
Yeah, because everybody has their own rhythm of things, but we are all unique for a reason, and we are all supposed to come together to make. You see this tapestry back here? It's different goddesses, but they all need each other, because one does one thing and the other may do another, and they all have the same thing in mind: for everlasting life, good health, and prosperity. Ankh Uja Senet. Ankh Uja Senet. Everlasting life, good health, and wealth, or prosperity. So again, guys, this is just a little intro. I will be back here. It took me a while to start this video, and to be honest, I didn't want to do it because I got so many friends that do YouTube, but I'm going to be obedient and bring these downloads as the Great Mother gives them to me. And you guys enjoy. Have a great day. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And I look forward to seeing you guys again. Ashe.
Ashe.